So on this channel, you're definitely going to be able to see a higher level of consistency with my analysis on things. Now, I did make a video not that long ago in Montreal where I was an advocate of them remaining competitive. Now, what I mean by them remaining competitive was like if they had a chance to make the NHL playoffs, or at least they were in striking distance, I do think that they should still go for it just to play some meaningful games. Like that would be my logical philosophy on that. Like if you have a chance to play some meaningful games down the stretch, I mean, first off, for the Montreal Canadiens fans, like, why wouldn't you do that? So I've just been always an advocate of looking at things that way. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the way it should go now. Now, unfortunately, the Montreal Canadiens have been on a bit of a losing streak right now. There was a time there, though, where they were really, like, winning a lot of games and really staying within the race. I mean, the Ottawa Senators are in the playoffs right now. Obviously, this video isn't about Ottawa, but there was a period of time where I was like, wow, okay, like I picked them to miss the playoffs, but I thought that they were going to play meaningful games down the stretch. It seems like they're kind of dropping out of the race, right? And Jean-Charles has talked from TVA Sports, was essentially alluding to the fact that the Montreal Canadiens should be probably looking to move assets right now. And he pointed to a couple of players that certainly do make a lot of logical sense. I mean, again, you have to understand, as I always said, I'm really, really interested to see what kind of market we're going to be looking at the trade deadline. I think that we're going to be looking at a market, a seller's market for sure. Like I think the one good thing for Montreal Canadiens fans with this is that at the very least you're going to be dealing with a seller's market. So your assets, are going to look pretty shiny, especially if you have what's called a premium asset. Now, what is a premium asset? A center is a premium asset. A right-hand shot D that can play top 4 minutes is an asset. I don't know. Do the Montreal Canadiens have any of those? The first player that I'm going to be analyzing right now is David Savard. He plays a decent amount of minutes. He is right-hand shot. Now, again, this is not the type of player that is going to have the biggest impact. He's not a top pair guy. I would say he's probably more of a second pair defenseman. That's where I like David Savard. I'm telling you right now, I'm really interested to see what the Montreal Canadiens can get for a player like this. Now, Jean-Charles said that he does not know whether this is a player that the Montreal Canadiens would actually be looking to move. I think that they should. Again, logically speaking, you always have to look at it like, is this player going to stick around? Are we in the playoff race? And then does it make sense for us just to move on? If you're completely out of the playoff race and you've gone on a 5-6 or whatever game losing streak, it might make logical sense right now to start to just move assets, right? Now, for an unrestricted free agent, I'm not actually sure what kind of assets the Montreal Canadiens could get for him. But there's another player that they have that's going to UFA, Jake Evans, and I really think that they could get a lot more than you think for him. This is a player that has at the very least produced at a third line clip, right? He's got about 26 points, and right now he would be on pace for about 35 to 43 points, something like that. That is a solid third line clip. Now, I'm not saying he's the best third line option in the league, but what is Yanni Gourde going to get? What are these players going to get? And remember that there's not many of these players centers around the league. So then as the supply for something goes down and the demand goes up, the prices go up. So if you have less centers and you have more competitive teams that need centers, you're gonna get more for that assets. So again, I think Evans is gonna get a hell of a lot. Now, I obviously doubt that the Montreal Canadiens would want to trade him to, Toronto, a team that desperately needs a center. I very much doubt they would want to give up a first-round pick, Maple Leafs, that is. I'm telling you right now that I think that some of these players are going to gain a lot more assets than you think, and I think they're going to, I'm interested to see where Jake Evans ends up, but I do think that the Montreal Canadiens are going to end up dealing him. Now, obviously, the third player that I'm going to be analyzing right now will be probably Christian Dvorak. Now, Jean-Charles did talk about that. Listen, he's probably not going to gain a lot. I mean, obviously, he's really not been that great for the Canadiens, in my opinion. I just haven't loved him. I don't know why they haven't moved him earlier, probably just because he has not a lot of value. He certainly is going to be more down the list of forwards that teams are going to get. So the Montreal Canadiens, I predict that the Montreal Canadiens, when it comes to Dvorak, are probably going to trade him like really, really, really close to the deadline. But Jean-Charles talked about the fact that like he more than likely will be traded, and the value will be a third round pick. Now, question of the video for the Montreal Canadiens fans that are listening to this: who would you trade and who wouldn't you? So I want to know, would you keep David Savard? Would you try to keep Jake Evans? Would you put on a full-on fire sale, try to get maybe somebody in unrestricted free agency on July 1st, and then come back and hopefully make the playoffs next year? What is the exact move that you would consider doing? Because I really do think that the Montreal Canadiens, they just need to make the playoffs. They need to. It's very interesting. This is the thing that I always say about Montreal. They are a team that they're not the best regular season team sometimes, but if you get that team in the playoffs, they just always somehow end up making some kind of run in the playoffs. There's no stranger why this team has so many cups, because for whatever reason they just get in the playoffs, even in that Canadian division. Whoever thought Montreal was going to go all the way to the Cup finals? I didn't, but it doesn't matter. That when they get in the playoffs, they're going to win at least a round 2, 3. They're going to make some damage in the playoffs. So that's why I love seeing Montreal in the playoffs, because something's going to happen. Anyways, I am going to leave the video there, guys. If you could make sure to subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it, and make sure to have a great day.